Welcome to the Practical Consciousness Podcast with James and Lisa, where we help you tap into your highest selves in everyday life.
So, welcome to the Practical Consciousness Podcast with Lisa and James. I'm Lisa.
I would be James.
Today we said Lisa and James because I'm the host. So today we're going to talk about something fun. We decided we would lighten things up a little bit and talk about connecting with your future self. So James,
wait, we're going to time travel?
We're going to time travel, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah.
See, it's going to be fun, right? So when James
well,
and
if we're
I
going to
were
really time travel, then that will be fun.
Yeah. So put your time traveling suit on, hat, whatever.
I have been watching Mr. Who, or Doctor Who. So
okay, yeah, get in your phone. Does he get into a phone box? No, is that a different show?
No, it is, but it's like a police box or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
regress. I've never watched that one. Okay, so James and I, when we did our coaching training, one of the exercises we did right in the beginning of training was to write like we were writing from our future self. So it's like writing in a future self journal, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, they called it visioning.
Yeah. So it's like you're visioning into the vision, but you write like you are your future self, and everything that you're writing about has already happened.
Yep. That's right.
So, and you had a really interesting experience with that. So do you mind sharing what your experience was with the future self visioning, journaling?
Well, yeah. And let me step back a little bit and say that from a law of attraction and manifestation perspective, what's really nice about putting yourself, either whether it's writing or telling yourself a story or imagining, whatever it is, when you put yourself in that energetic place where it already happened, then you're speeding up the attraction because you're allowing. You're energetically allowing. You're no longer resisting, right?
Yeah, it's like you're opening up the energy for those things to come into your life.
Yeah, like energy is attracted to like energy.
Right.
So you basically you're putting yourself energetically there. So what you want to come is like there's no resistance to come. It's just being drawn in.
And then it just flows in. Yeah. It's like the minute that the way I've heard some of this law of attraction described is even just having the desire starts things moving in that direction of you obtaining that desire. But the more open you are to it, the faster it's going to come to you.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're not suggesting that, you want to concentrate or focus on getting everything that you want right away, because it's not going to work that way. It comes at the rate that's perfect for you, and you have to understand and be comfortable and trust that, right? Like trust that it's coming exactly when it needs to come.
Yep.
Yeah, because sometimes, and I know for sure for me, a lot of times I get impatient and things aren't happening as fast as I want them to, and I just have to remind myself, this is happening at exactly the correct rate for me and how it's best for me and in my life. So it doesn't, sometimes my ego doesn't like that, to hear that, but that's,
I call it it's the universe's timing, not our timing.
Yeah.
Right. Because I believe that, there's like this synchronistic grid. There's this quantum field, whatever you want to call it, where there's everybody's desires are being managed. And so, sometimes it doesn't come as fast as you maybe wanted it to, because it's, it's kind of being worked out, so to speak.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had this thing that we did, right? This exercise. And it was pretty simple. They basically said, write like a year has advanced, and you're, describe what it's like, what you're doing, who you're with, all that kind of stuff, and in a year in advance.
Yeah, like it's happening now. Like you're living a
Right.
year from now and you're
Yeah.
writing in your
In
journal.
present tense.
Yeah.
And so I actually wrote that we had sold our house, that we lived in a fifth wheel. We were traveling. I was a full-time coach. We were doing workshops, and we were, um, working with clients. Um, I mean, I think that's pretty much the summation of it. It was much more detailed in the sense that, you get excited when the energy starts flowing as you're writing it, because you're like, yes, this is really what I want.
Well, and at the time you were working full time.
So at the time I had a full-time job. I just started coaching school, right? This was our first module. I really didn't know. I knew what I wanted to do with coaching school, but I really didn't know what the coaching school was going to unfold, because this is like the
Mhm.
first day, if you
Yeah,
remember.
I didn't know what to expect either. It was way different than what I
Right.
expected.
And so, yeah, I mean, full-time corporate job, leader in IT, um, whatever. Yeah. Working with Crystal. And so now fast forward, I don't know, roughly, I guess 2 years now, right? A
Mhm.
year and a half, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years
2
from then.
years. Yeah.
Well, in July, it would be 2 years.
Oh yeah,
And
this July it's 2 years. Yes, so it's almost 2 years.
so, I mean, basically 90% of what's in there, I'm living right now.
Yeah.
Sold our
Isn't that
house.
great?
I live on the road. I do workshops. I have clients with coaching.
Yeah.
We've done this podcast. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, that's the only other time I wrote about it too. It's not like I dwelled on it every day. I mean, I did to some parts of it, like getting the house sold and some of those kind of things. It was
Mhm.
like, definitely there were sub parts of it that you focus on, or start doing some future self journaling on those aspects of it.
Yeah.
But basically that was it. And then it was, I think a couple of months ago, we were talking, you and I and some other of those coaches in our cohort, we were talking about this, and we kind of pulled up our stuff and read it.
Yeah.
It was a little crazy how so many of us were,
Yeah.
at least parts of it, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's the power of this future self perspective.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
not,
you're just reminding me of what I wrote about
okay,
because I
yeah,
don't.
what'd you write?
So I remember writing. The first thing I wrote was today, or when I was, because I was writing from a year from now, a year from then, right? So I said, I'm so excited that I made such great friends who I've stayed in contact with and who are, good friends today, when I started the coaching, because I knew that day that I was going to meet people that I was going to be friends with. I'm friends with you, and I have lots of other people that we went to school with that I'm still friends with, that I talk to on a daily basis. One person that I actually talked to today, another person. So that was one thing. I just
Yeah.
remembered that when you mentioned
Wow.
that about, yeah. So I just remembered that. And then I also talked about, having clients. And for me, it's been a lot of the big shifts for me have been that I'm doing a lot of more teaching. So at the time I had worked at Honeywell and had just been laid off from Honeywell working as an engineer. And I had started a little meditation group at work. And that was one of the things that I future journaled about, was that I'm teaching, meditation to groups of people. And that's actually what I am doing today.
That's
So
true. You have a group on Mondays that you
I do. And
teach.
I've done more than that. I've
Yeah,
done
you've done
corporate
some trade
sessions for
shows.
people.
Yeah.
Yep. I do health fairs for companies. I've done some sessions, training sessions for companies. You and I are doing the mindfulness trainings for companies. So I manifested that.
Isn't that
All that
cool?
happened. It is
And
amazing
we
how
kind of
that.
lose sight of it, right? We write it and we forget about it. And then it's not till we look back. It's so matter of fact and so sort of naturally unfolded.
Yeah.
We don't even really notice that when we wrote it, we were so excited about it. And then it actually unfolded and it was like, oh yeah, it happened,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's a really important part to point out, is that you don't have to um, focus on it every day.
No, you
You don't
only have
have.
to put it out there.
You just put it out there.
And, I mean, if you listen to Abraham Hicks or any of those sort of law of attraction gurus, I guess, it's what do they say, it's like 60 seconds or something like that
Yeah. Just
of,
putting it out there.
of the matching energy, and then it's on its way.
So you can have a desire, right? And like you say, 60 seconds, there it is. It's out there. Now the energy's moving in that direction for that. But what about when you have doubts or you keep noticing that you don't have what you want?
Right, that's the resistance we talk about. We talked about
That's
that
going to
in the law
slow
of
it down.
attraction podcast. That I don't remember what episode it was, but we talked about that resistance. I mean, doubt is resistance.
It slows it down.
Is what slows it down, but it never stops coming.
Right.
It just gets. I mean, it could be, I guess, slowed down to like barely crawl.
Like you're on your deathbed and you finally get what you want, but you resisted it your whole life. So what do you expect?
um,
Was that fun?
yeah, it's a little snail.
Oh, is that what it was? The snail.
Okay. Okay. So what we're kind of we wanted to give you guys a couple of ways in which you can I guess step into your future self. So we already mentioned one, which is journaling. It's probably the most effective one, probably.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit of discipline, I think, where you want to sit down and do it for a few days, but you journal, just like we described. You can make it the future. You pick. It can be a year, it can be 5 years, it can be 2 weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you put yourself in that time period and write from that perspective. Now, here's another interesting thing that happens when you do this. Sometimes we don't know what we want.
Right.
And sometimes we don't know what we want to ask for.
Right.
And so when you do this future self journaling, sometimes you get some clarity on the ask, because you get in that energetic space of, first it's kind of heady and you're kind of feels awkward, and, maybe you're not a big visionary person or whatever. But as you start feeling the emotion coming from it and the energy that gets charged in it, then all of a sudden you think, oh, well, I really want blah, blah, blah. And as you're writing, you're like, oh, I was so excited when so-and-so arrived and brought blank, blank, blank.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, I didn't even really know I wanted that, but I'm feeling the energy from that. And I like that. Right.
Yeah.
Whether it's a relationship, whether it's money, career change, whatever
experiences,
going on a trip somewhere.
Yeah. Get creative. Just write about whatever concert you might want to go to. Like, oh, a year ago, I would have never believed that I got to see fill in the blank.
Right.
In a concert.
My business coach, Stacey Hartman, she had us do this future self journaling. I think it was in late January, February timeframe. And I got a real kind of like excitement from doing it. It was around our businesses, building our business. Right. And then I kind of fell away from it and quit doing it. And then it's come up again recently. And so we've been doing it again. And what's kind of interesting, I'll share this with you, is so I'm 3 days into this like 15-day challenge. So the first day, it was kind of like, a bucket list of everything I want for the next year from my business. It's all about business, right? Business perspective. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, so the first day was like everything. So it was like 2 pages, just dump all my desires basically on a piece of paper. All happened in that year. But then the next day, it was only a couple things, and it was very specific. Mm. And then today, it was like one thing, publishing a book. And I was just into that, publishing that book. So it was like, as you do it, and it gets more refined and more specific and more attuned to the energy and the emotions that come from it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do the future self journaling, to our listeners, do it over a course of time. 2 weeks, something like that. Every day, first thing in the morning, I would suggest before your mind gets
Mhm.
into its doubting mode and
Right
stuff, right?
after you meditate
Well, or even before you meditate,
or
because
before.
then because I've been doing it before I meditate, and then
Oh,
some of my meditations have been um, really centered around that particular aspect, right?
yeah. Yeah, and so by doing it several days in a row, you get that creativity built up like you were talking about earlier about how one thing leads to one, idea leads to another. So by you're giving yourself that opportunity to have that creativity build day to day.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is you're it's like a funnel, right? You're refining the ask so it gets really tight
Mhm.
and it doesn't become leaky. It's just one, like, and 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 not from an attached space, right? Not that you go, oh, I really want to publish this book and I'm so excited that it's taken off, it's helping so much people, blah blah blah. But it's still the how it occurs. You're still detached from,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because that actually is resistance when you become attached to it.
How it's going to happen.
Well, yeah, and what you get so specific that you attach to the to
Oh, I
you
see.
don't
Yeah.
you miss it, right? It happens and you miss it.
Well, and it's easier to let the universe surprise you if you don't attach to something. Because you
Yeah,
let the universe, let that energy, that free energy move in the way it wants to move without causing it, without causing it any issues with bringing it to you.
yeah, that's a great point. It's more fun.
Yeah, it's more fun. It's fun to
It's
be surprised.
Yes, it's more fun to when the package arrives and you get to open the package and it's
Yeah.
just when life unfolds, it's more fun.
Yeah. So, what are some other ways other than future self journaling that people could? I just one idea just popped in my head that I've heard before about Jim Carrey when he wrote him when he was like a nobody. He wrote himself a check for like $1 million or something, and then
Hmm.
within like a year, he was making more than that in
Hmm.
movies.
Yeah, that's that act as if.
Yeah, act as if that's it.
Yeah.
So talk about the things that you're planning on manifesting with your friends and family. Now talk to
Well,
people who are
you behave as if it's
Mhm.
occurred.
and you can
So,
talk about it like it be very
yeah,
free with talking about it because if you hesitate to talk about it because you're afraid of getting to of being disappointed or embarrassed if it never happens, that's resistance.
yeah, and I mean, you don't have to do it in a way that you're bragging about
No.
something, your beautiful Lamborghini, and your friends are like, "What are you, high?" I mean, you do not
Well,
have a Lamborghini.
that's a really
So,
good point though. You got to talk to people who are I have this one spiritual teacher I follow. She calls them believing eyes, people who are going to support you and believe, and be there to encourage you
right,
and not to say things like, "Hey, dude, you're never going to get a Lamborghini,"
right,
or whatever.
yeah. Well, what I'm suggesting is that you can act as if, like, let's say I want to manifest this new home that I just always wanted. It's got everything I want. And you can act as if, even, as you're walking around in your house, first of all, you appreciate the things you have in your house, but then you can visualize you're walking through that house. As I'm going down the hall to go to the restroom, I'm walking down that hall
Oh yeah,
and going into that restroom,
yeah.
and you're
I've
just
I've heard
in
of
it.
people walking into neighborhoods that they want to live in and walking around like they live there.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
They like walk around and like imagine these people are their neighbors and like people
And I,
do that.
and I did an episode, I think it's 17. Is that right?
Might be.
Where I came on alone,
Yes,
and I
yes.
did an exercise where you write your desires and
Hmm.
then you kind of just fantasize about it. And it's the same thing. It's you're living your future self.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another one I'll share with you guys real quick. This is a really kind of really nice, effective one too. It's that as if particularly if it's around money, right? It's a game you can play your future self around money. And what you can do is you can get yourself a little checkbook, right? A checkbook register. And you actually deposit in your account the amount of money that you'll be earning in your future self. And you spend that money like you would be spending it in your future self.
In your register,
You shop, you go to Amazon, you buy, and you write a check for, a cruise vacation you've been wanting to go on. The things you would be doing once you're earning that level of money. And that's another way of future selfing, and in a playful, kind of fun fantasy way of bringing yourself into that energetic place where you believe you can live with that kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to be playful about it. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've got that particular episode out on Insight Timer, and one person gave me some feedback, and they're like, you say in that thing that the universe doesn't know, and the universe I know is wise to all things. And I kind of like, well, that person missed a point, I think. Yes, the universe does know, but energetically, the energy is the same as if whether it's money or not real money. It's the energy is the same.
Yeah.
And that's where the universe, the energy draws.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lisa and I thought it would be kind of fun, go a little bit different direction today. We want to issue a challenge to our listeners, to my mom and Lisa's mom and the other two people that listen.
My mom will come back in spirit because she's not around anymore.
Oh, I did not know that. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Okay, so your sister. No, your cousin.
I have two sisters. I have a cousin.
Yeah, I have to.
My cousin in Scotland. I think she listens.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
You want to give her a shout out?
Yeah, Jen. Hey.
Hey, Jen. We got a challenge for you. So what we'd like you to do is you pick at least 7 days, ideally 14 days. Every day if you can. As your future self, journal from that real time, from that present tense, what your life's like in a year, your desired life is like. You're living the life of your desire a year from now. And journal from your future self. And then share, if you would like, come onto the Practical Consciousness Facebook group and share what came up from you doing that. Or you can put it in the Anchor comments and on the Anchor platform, and let us know what came up, how did it go, what was it like. And then we think it would be kind of cool to have an episode a year from now where we reveal some of ours, because we're going to do it too. Lisa and I are going to do it too.
Yeah.
And we'll share what came of this little challenge that we did. What showed up.
What a great idea.
Yeah. And I mean, share it with your friends. If this is the only podcast episode you share with your friends, this is a really good one to share.
Yeah.
Let your friends do the challenge as well, because what's just going to end up happening, whether you do it one day or whether you do it 14 days, you're going to change your life to some extent for what you want. Yeah. I guarantee you it's going to happen. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I'll put a brand new shiny quarter on it.
Okay, you're on.
No, seriously though. I mean, I'm confident it's going to help you guys
absolutely.
At least clarify what you want. And
yes, at a minimum, it does that. But like you said before, just doing it once, you've started the energy in that direction.
That's right.
As long as you have pure intentions when you do it,
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
Don't think about it. Don't make it hard. If it is hard or is challenging, reach out to us. You can do it on the Facebook group. We're both on Facebook.
Join the tribe, because in the tribe it's more interactive.
Join the tribe, and we'll help you best we can. But so share this episode with people, and let's kind of start a movement. Let's see what happens. Let's get this out there and having people do it. So We've been, so now we're on your favorite podcast platform, and we're also in YouTube. So we
Oh
record
yeah. A
ourselves
lot of
doing
people
this.
like the video better. Hi
So
everyone.
either of those platforms, share it out, and let's get people manifesting from their future selves. I think it'd be really fun.
Great. Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm going to do it. For 2 weeks, I'm going to write to my future self every day in my journal. I journal anyway, so it's going to be fun.
I'm going to do it for 11 days because 11 is
11.
my favorite number. So,
Oh, okay. Mine's 3, but I want to do it more than 3.
Okay. So there you go. The gauntlet has been cast.
Yes, it's out there.
And we hope you guys enjoy the process. So with that,
yes,
I think we'll say adieu,
bye-bye.
right? Yeah. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Bye.